What's up, y'all? Welcome back to My Voice Open Journal entry number 2. I want to thank everyone who watched the first entry. It was definitely a nerve-wracking kind of experience because there is some stress that come with flipping open your laptop, sitting in front of it, and just basically talking about your life story and then leaving it out for everybody else to comment on. And I thank you for your comments. I thank you for your feedback. Some people text, some people sent a Snapchat, some people left comment. I want to thank you all for all of that. Your support means a lot to me. More importantly, my truth means more to me than anything. So, getting on with it. Entry number 2. I will say this. Somebody mentioned that I might have gone a little bit too far back, but I sometimes feel like in order for people to understand how you ended up where you are, you kind of got to go back just a little bit to let everybody know. But I guess I maybe went back too far. But what I will say is I was married for 10 years. I was married for 10 years, went through a divorce for 1 year extra after that. So technically I was married for 11, but 10 of the years that I know I was completely devoted to my family, my marriage. So in saying that, I will say within the 10 years of my marriage, here's where I'm starting this entry. I will call this one Confidence Shot. My confidence literally was shot, and a lot of people probably don't believe someone with the nickname Miss Hollywood could have they like whole confidence level just kind of like, oh, you're always feeling like you're struggling for a place in somebody's life. And by that I mean, like, I always felt like I was struggling for him to see me, or struggling for him to notice me, or give me attention, give me affection, give me something. So it kind of makes you feel a little needy at some point. But being the Dara that I am, you're not gonna make me feel needy. So then what that did was make me start to fall back some. So with all that being said, I'll start, with that. Um, Even in the beginning of our marriage, I felt like I was struggling to become something that he would be proud of, instead of feeling like he was already married to someone he was proud of, someone that he wanted to cherish, and someone that he wanted to, you know, um, just treat like a jewel. Like I was the shit. I mean, what more can I say? So when you feel like you the shit, you feel like the person who's marrying you should be looking at you like, yo, um, that's my boo. Like, nothing needs to change here, other than the fact that two souls become one, and you got to learn how to live and vibe with each other. And I was always fighting for him to notice me, and I say that because I felt, prime example, women. When you get your stuff on and you feeling good, you got your little outfit together, and you come downstairs, or you open the door for your date or whatever, you want to be acknowledged, right? You want somebody to be like, damn, shorty, you looking good. That's my boo. That's my baby. I see you got your little new outfit on. You got your new shoes on. Did your little hair a little different way. And you want your man to notice you. Well, I felt like I was always putting myself up there to go, do you see my new hair? Do you see my new outfit? How my booty looking in these jeans? Like, I really felt like I was always trying to get him to see me. Our first 5 years of our marriage, we encountered a lot of issues. Um, and what marriage doesn't? So it's nothing new. But, I found some things out, and our first year of our marriage, and I thought I handled them in a way that anybody would be proud. Like, I remember we was trying to get a house, and he spent all our savings and didn't tell me about it. But instead of, like, being the angry black woman and throwing this hissy fit, okay, well, what's the plan? Basically, if we have a problem, I'm usually just like, okay, well, that's the problem. Yes, you did something wrong. Yes, whatever, whatever. We can sit here and argue for days about it, but what's the plan? So that was my take on it. What's the plan? Let's move forward. I remember when I found him looking at porn, and I mean, literally had just finished giving him some of the best sex. I'm always giving best sex. really good sex. But I just remember like coming downstairs and seeing him look at porn on the television. I mean, on his like computer. And what's funny is I was always wondering why the heck was he always ending up with viruses on his computer? Like that. Okay, two and two put together now. You always got a virus because you always looking at some nasty shit. That's I see what's going on now. So that was the thing. Like okay, and I remember dealing with that in a very poised kind of way, in a very supportive kind of way, because if you tell me it's an addiction and you tell me you're trying to better yourself, guess what Dara's going to do? Dara's going to think, because she's so naive. Well, I don't like to call myself, I'm not going to call myself naive, but I definitely will say I believe that when people say they're trying to change, they're trying to change. I did everything that I felt like I should have been doing to keep my man happy in our home for me. But I do remember there was one time that when that led me to believe something else is something bigger than me. And I say that because I remember a lot of people, one of the main questions people could ask me is, you had to have known, you had to have known. Let me explain something to you. When you're married to a man who knows the Bible backwards and forwards, who has been in, you met him in church, all he really cares about is going to church. All he ever does, like you start to think that maybe I hit the holy grail. Maybe he can do wrong, but he can't do the wrong. So you don't, it doesn't cross your mind. Like he was a DJ, yes, he was drinking, and yes, he was doing all these things. But for me, my trust for him and the trust that I felt like I had in him when it came to our marriage, it never crossed my mind. It never crossed my mind that I would be sitting before you today, divorced. Um, and I'll get to this in a minute, not just because of infidelity, but for a lot of the things that was said to me. It was shocking, very, very shocking. But again, no, I didn't have any clue. But there was an instance that came along that kind of helped me with thinking that, oh, something could be going on outside of what I could do. Um, and I say that because I remember it was this one time I was drinking a glass of wine. Not unusual, right? Because there's always drinking wine. I'm always drinking wine. So I had a glass of wine. I was upstairs getting ready. I had got the kids in bed. Usually I grab a glass of wine once the kids is down. I can be me. I can be myself. Grab a glass of wine. I'm winding it down a little bit. And I took a shower. He was downstairs. Took a shower. And I remember getting out the shower and lotioning up my body and everything and had my glass of wine still. And I was just thinking, hey, I'm feeling myself. I'm feeling myself. I'm feeling my feeling. I was feeling myself. So I felt like I would go downstairs and have him feel me too. And didn't put no clothes on. Went downstairs with just the glass as my ensemble, a glass of wine in my hand, and was just like, trying to just spark up a conversation, regular conversation about nothing, whatever, but I'm naked. So the point being, you should have just took me right then and there in the kitchen. Like, take me upstairs, take me in the kitchen, take me in the living room. I don't care. Just take me. Like, clearly I'm in heat. Like, I'm showing you I want to be wanted and taken at this moment. So take me. And we had like a 15-minute conversation about something, honestly, to this day, I don't even know what the hell we was talking about, because that wasn't the point of why I went downstairs. But we talked about something for 15 minutes, and I remember thinking, I was on one side of the kitchen. He was on another side of the kitchen, leaning on the sink. I had my drink. He had his drink. And never once did he come forward to me. I remember playing around, doing a little turnaround and all this other stuff. But not once did my husband try anything with me. So I took that as a sign of, okay, clearly I need to just go back upstairs and feel myself. So I go back upstairs, butt naked, with my glass in hand. with a refill. Can I get a refill? So I refill the glass. I go upstairs, and I went upstairs by myself. I laid down by myself. I slept butt naked by myself. And that happened quite often. I never thought about it because it was always an excuse as to why he never slept in the bed with me. The excuse was he didn't want to wake me up. And it was, his snoring was this, that, and the other. But I will always say, I don't care. Just get in bed. I want you next to me. I want you in the bed with me, blah, 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 this and that and the other. But this night, I really honestly felt like, clearly you see the signs. You see your wife wants you. You will come get in the bed. Like, you will. So I remember laying there drinking, watching whatever was on the hell. The TV was on something. I don't know what it was on, but it was on, and I was drinking my wine thinking at some point he's going to come upstairs and I'm just going to be legs cocked, ready, open. And I fell asleep, legs ready, cocked, open by myself in the bed. He was outside on the phone talking to, God knows who, I don't know. But what I will say is I woke up the next morning and that was the tingling in the brain that went, something right. So yes, if I was to truly, 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 truly think back on when the inkling came that something could be wrong, that would be the moment. But then again, it didn't click. It didn't click then that I was getting cheated on, but it did click that he didn't want me. Clearly, he didn't want me, and that's a hard pill to swallow. Um, there were plenty of times where I felt like, and I used to throw it in his face a lot. Like I used to feel like he married me just because I was pregnant with Tirza, and those were the moments that used to make me feel that way. I used to really honestly, I told him a couple of times to his face, yo, like, you only married me. I feel like you only married me because I was pregnant. I feel like you only married me because you this holy sanctified dude and you were scared of what the people was going to think about you in church. And I know everything is just not connected to sex because we used to have great conversation. We used to have great laughs. But the intimacy between the two of us sexually was shot to hell. Like I always felt like I was doing too much just to get him to notice me and want me. I remember my mom's wedding was another instance, and we'll go. That gets closer to when I found out he actually was cheating on me. But yeah, you know, you gotta just, I don't know. I guess you had to be there, standing in the kitchen with me butt naked to really see how I like that. That shot me down. That shot me down good. Not many people know about that either, but I'm gonna end it there. That's entry number 2. Hope y'all come back and listen to entry number 3, because I will get closer to when I actually found out um, some. Well, no, I'll get into when I went to take him to lunch on the lunch break at his job because I wanted to talk to him about how I was feeling like a ghost in my own home. I was, and that ended with me crying in a parking lot to my best friend. I don't know if anybody really knows. Like, I really don't know if anybody know what it feels like to have somebody make you feel like shit in just a few words. But that's what that lunch did to me. That's what it did. And I refuse to feel that way again. But entry number 3 will go into detail about that. Thank you guys again for letting me use you as my journal, a way to get it all out. And I'll see you next time. Thanks. Bye. Open journal entry number